Viewers, welcome to another wonderful episode of Punch Sports Extra. My name is Shegun Odwan. I feel going to be back here again, doing what I love doing the most, journalism, my thing. Can't think I can ever let go of it, but we are here once again, and it's time for us to talk sports. Yes, I'm not here alone. I have my co-presenter, my co-anchor, my co-analyst, Abiodun Adewale. Very good afternoon to you, Abiodun Adewale.
Good afternoon, Shegun.
So, I think you've been a while. It's been a while since we had you last on the show.
Of course.
It's great to have you here again.
It's always a pleasure.
Like we always do, guys, we'll be starting with Punch Sports Extras, print, copies, front page analysis. Paul Onuachu and his Nigerian brother, Victor Osimhen, have described each other as the best strikers in the world. Of course, you remember that a couple of days ago, just this weekend, their teams played. Remember that both guys have also been in form for their various clubs. Osimhen majorly for his club in the Champions League because he hasn't really featured in the league and hasn't scored as many goals as he did this time last season. But in the Champions League, he's flying really high. But for Paul Onuachu, he's scoring goals aplenty. And when both teams met this weekend, we all thought it was going to be a game where both Nigerian strikers were going to be flying really high. Did they really fly high? Perhaps their performances on the pitch wasn't anything to write much about, because at the end of the day, the game ended goalless. But the camaraderie after the encounter was the big deal about that game. Biodun, both guys hugging with Onana coming in, African atmosphere, in love in Turkey.
I think the Onana inclusion was like the comic relief in the entire thing. Because, the bromance had to be there between Onuachu and Victor Osimhen, whether you like it or not. Despite the fact that Galatasaray against Trabzonspor is always very heated, that just had to come in. And I don't think anyone in Turkey will blame the guys for warming up with each other at the end of the game. And to even see Andre Onana stopping Victor Osimhen, kind of. Maybe Osimhen tried to overdo after that dribble. I mean, he could have scored that. But then, you still as good as Onana prevented Osimhen from scoring against him. And Trabzonspor has described him as the wall so far this campaign. But for Victor and Paul, the question was thrown at them at the mixed zone after the game. Then, Victor Osimhen, in his usual character, when he was asked, he just told them as quickly as he could, Paul Onuachu is my brother now, of course he's the one. And then Paul Onuachu, maybe for everything that he has, for everything too, he just looked at the reporter, smiled and said, Victor.
So like I said, that was the biggest highlight of both guys on the pitch that day. The bromance between them, and of course, like Biodun said, the wall in Andre Onana, the man on loan. He's not exactly gone for Manchester United. He's just on loan, but such loan deals, when you go like that, the possibility of coming back, especially when the man who is taking your place is not doing badly, is likely that you are not coming back. But hey, still on loan, and it was a good day. Bukayo Saka, another Nigerian, Nigerian abroad, or how do we like to put it? Nigerian, historical Nigerian, but Englishman in the real sense of it, is said to be going to be getting another deal over there with his club in Arsenal Football Club of England. They're having a very fantastic season. We'll be coming back to that segment later on the show. But Bukayo Saka getting another Arsenal deal. If we are being honest, Biodun, looking at stats, looking at performances, so far, I don't know if he does deserve it.
Well, Bukayo Saka getting a new deal at Arsenal, I don't think it's ever in doubt.
Because he's the star boy.
Even at his lowest, he was always going to get a renewal.
But if you look at what he has done so far this season and what he did last season,
it's just about this. It's just about this season. Players have these issues. Mohamed Salah is currently going through the same field at Liverpool. It doesn't mean that he's one of the worst players in the history of it. So it's just a number of games into the current season. He might eventually even prove more than important for them in the course of the title run. But for everything that he has done for the club, ever since he has come through their ranks, giving him another contract. He wears the captain armband now. Anytime some of their captains are
yes, of course.
Martin Odegaard,
yes.
He wears the band too. So he's as good as that. So getting a new contract, I don't think the talk should even drag up. So
contracts should be based on name and your past behavior, not necessarily present.
Not necessarily about performance. That is what you want to know. That is not what I'm trying to say. But in Bukayo Saka's case, It was never going to
His
be
case is
that.
different.
He looks like, and they say certain players have the club's DNA. He has it. Unless you're a prodigal son like Marcus Rashford and all of that, then things might go the other way. But if you are performing at Saka's level, not minding some number of games into a season or whatever, you should be getting your due.
Well,
even whatever maybe the only thing they would have to discuss is whatever you want and what the club can offer.
I think it's also important to state that he hasn't been fully fit on like last season when he started with a blast. But this time around, and like you said, just about 10 games into the Premier League already after outside other games. But, he has not really given that Bukayo effect. If you have him in your FPL, you know what I'm talking about because he's busy dropping 2s or 3s these days rather than giving the 8, 9, 10s and things like that. All right. Still sticking with you want to say something, Bjorn?
Double figures. That was
double figures. All right, he's dropping 2. Like very quickly moving on. Still sticking with the front page of Punch Sports Extra, the print edition. Virgil van Dijk has slammed critics of Liverpool players, saying that they are just, one are just the vessels like this, and he's really angry. He went really ballistic and said that a lot of things are being exaggerated on the outside, unlike what is happening inside. And some of the critics, he can't really understand why they are being criticized that much and all of that. Some persons have equally said he's right, saying that after all, in their so-called bad season, they are just a couple of points off an Arsenal who has been terrific. I mean, wonderful, splendid. Even though they have been splendid and Liverpool are supposed to be bad, it's just a couple of points away. I mean, do you agree with Virgil van Dijk?
Before I wouldn't even agree with him because, and the question I will put to him, I hope he understands pidgin. Reach to vex. I mean, 4 games in the Premier League, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Man United, Brentford.
And there was even Gala in the Champions League.
Back-to-back losses, and there was Galatasaray in the Champions League. And what I saw against Aston Villa, I don't think that performance, I don't think it warrants that anybody will come out in the name of a Liverpool captain and come and slam critics. Because what I saw against Aston Villa does not mean that bad form is totally behind Liverpool. Liverpool got that game just because Aston Villa were not just at any level.
Aston Villa was very bad on the day.
They were very bad on that day. They had a number of chances to have probably stunned Liverpool before Liverpool eventually got the opening goal. But
error.
But it didn't work.
In his first place.
But the moment Mohamed Salah got that first goal, I think every wing, every muscle that Aston Villa were trying to flex, it was broken at that point, and Liverpool just eased out. Maybe their first clean sheet in how many games now? So a lot of things are really worrisome about Liverpool. Maybe a lot of people who are criticizing too don't understand how things are inside, but who would explain what is happening inside?
If not the people inside.
If not the people inside. So if you won't bother to explain what is going on inside and let people be compassionate, if it gets to the level of empathy, let people be compassionate about whatever is going on. Let people empathize with.
Some persons have said this was the passing of Diogo Jota that has affected a couple of the top guys in the Salah team, and so on and so on.
And if you notice, a lot of critics are very mute about that because nobody will want to talk about a player that has passed on his relationship with many other players in the squad and all of that. But tactically, if you look at that Liverpool setup, just tell me. Slot is trying to change a lot of things that won't work, and he tweaked maybe one of them against Aston Villa, and we saw it.
Returned back to his past.
Just go back to your exes if you have to. You don't have to ditch them. So he was just trying to change a lot of things that are not changing. Maybe they have issues within them about who is coming to play, who is supposed to play, and all of that.
It's forcing quite a couple of things, and it's not really making the team work.
Exactly. So. Some people also say that, and I also quite agree with that school of thought, that this season that Liverpool are having is what they were supposed to have last season.
Yeah.
And maybe have last season this season.
Yeah.
I quite agree with that. So maybe he worked last season. He's now trying to put in all those experiments and all of that. Let's see. But it's not just sticking.
All right. Bjorn was talking about somebody having the DNA of a club at that time. Marcus Rashford. I mean, Bjorn was saying that, how do you have a DNA of a club and then you eventually get to leave? Guess what? That man is on fire where he is at the moment. Marcus Rashford and Barcelona looks exactly like a match made in heaven. You can see Marcus Rashford coming alive. They even did photo shoot for him. And on the pitch of play, his performances so far have been brilliant. Look at his wonderful goal yesterday. Clocked 28 a couple of days ago, and he didn't even look anything like the guy that we saw last season that was having a very woeful last season with controversies around his club, his performances, him not playing. Look at him playing for Barcelona. Will you ever have thought that Marcus Rashford, who had such a terrible season, except you are, I mean, obviously, except you are a natural Rashford fan, will you ever have thought that such a guy like him with a bad last season with Manchester United and even a couple of years ago will be having such a wonderful... It didn't even look like there was any issue. He came into the team and he's just like a right peg in the right hole, linking up properly with the likes of Yamal, with the likes of... Just look at that team, Biodun. Look at that team. Look at his goal yesterday. Look at the plug and play.
Plug and play. Rashford to me just looks like a player that fits into a puzzle at Barcelona. Whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench, he looks really good for whatever they are playing, and he could easily adapt to whatever style it is and make things happen. He's surrounded by guys who are probably or arguably the best at whatever they do in football, if not in the world, in the La Liga. He was on loan at Aston Villa last season. He quite started a little bit very good on a good note, but along the line he fizzled out, and it was even difficult for Aston Villa to make his loan deal permanent. There were a lot of monies involved, and it was just because of the kind of money he earns and the kind of contract he has with United. So he needed that escape, and that is what he's getting now. A new lease of life at Barcelona. But it comes down to one thing at the end. Will Barcelona give him a permanent contract at the end of this campaign? I don't think it looks like that. At this point, it looks like a quick fix for whatever financial problem that Barcelona have to. They must have found a way with Manchester United to sort in salary issues and all of that. But then, if they have to retain his services permanently, except that they are out of their financial burden in its entirety, maybe that is when they will be able to afford to keep a player like Marcus.
Who knows? They might get a deal that will somehow work with United.
Then this season, if he
spread the pay over a decade.
If it has to happen, then this season, the numbers definitely have to be there. He's turning in the numbers already. He will just have to keep it at that level, and they wouldn't want to let it go out. If he has those numbers too, somewhere in Manchester, they might just be looking at him to, why not come back and do the numbers here too?
All right, lastly, just before we leave the front page of Point Sports Extra, Chiamaka Nnadozie, Africa's best goalkeeper without a doubt, has been nominated again. There's a strong possibility, without any doubt, that she's going to get that again. Guess what? This weekend, 3 goals went past her. I saw the highlights against Manchester United. I don't think it was her fault. I think it was her defense that was just bad. But, you know, Chiamaka Nnadozie conceding 3 with Brighton. Remember that she started in a very bright fashion with Brighton, where she had a clean sheet. Was even nominated for goalkeeper of the month at a point. But, hey, she chopped 3 this time.
It's not like it's bad. She faced 9 shots in that game, saved 6 of them.
6?
The only 6 she couldn't get her hand on properly are the ones that ended up at the back of the net. And Brighton really fought too. They still pulled 2 back. 2 goals, in that game as well, to make it end 3-2. But United women, Manchester United women, are in good form right now. They've not dropped points in their last 7 matches too. So, you know, that is just the kind of the level of competition that we want to see this girl, this lady on. It looks like there is no other goalkeeper anywhere around Africa who is at that level.
There's none.
At this point.
There's none. She's
the 4th best goalkeeper in the world.
In the world,
So, from what we saw yesterday, like you said, it wasn't her fault. Facing 9 shots, saving 6 of them, letting only 3 go when you are helpless. I don't think it's a bad deal. And it's the first time she will concede 3 goals since May.
She's actually very good. So it doesn't look like we're spotlighting her bad, but I mean, we just have to talk about it holistically, talk about the good, the bad, and what happened in the game in entirety. So that'll be all from us from Point Sports Extra, the print versions front page analysis. We'll be moving now to the meat of the show and tell you what went down this weekend. We're starting with the English Premier League, where one man can't stop scoring. He dished his usual performance after he scores his celebration, and he gave us the robotic Erling Haaland, the Norwegian, getting 2 goals He could have gotten a hat-trick. Somehow his manager took him off. I was waiting to see if he was going to display that Vinicius-like behavior. But, you know, it was just low-key grumbling. Not exactly grumbling. You know, it's Pep. Pep can just bench you for 80. But anyway, if you are Erling Haaland, perhaps you won't get benched by even Pep Guardiola. Biodun, 2 goals, 3-goal victory at the end of the day. 3-1, they won in all. Nico Riley also got his goal. Erling Haaland can't stop scoring. Look at where he is. Look at where the others are on the goal scoring charts.
I think City were in whatever situation they were last season because he also failed to get as many goals as possible. Because as long as he's scoring, they are always getting the results. I don't think there are hardly any games that Erling Haaland will score at least 2 that City will now let in 3, 4 without finding a way to respond. But this season has been good. They seem to be back on track. And Haaland himself is in a world of his own in the Premier League. He just got a new 10-year contract not long ago, isn't it? And so he's on a different level and he's proving that. But need I say that City were really tested in that game too, against Bournemouth. Bournemouth have scored first in the game, but ruled out for certain things then. They were punished by Erling Haaland before Riley got a consolation. So for City, they just have to keep the pressure. This might just be another season where it will be about them and whoever wants to challenge for the title. We've always known them to be perennial contenders.
Of course.
At least since 2018.
Even in their not so strong state.
You would definitely put them in contention for the title. So since 2018, they've always been in contention for the title. So this season, regardless of who is on top, it will just be who is going to challenge City to the Premier League title.
All right. Talking about the other team who have had it so good in the last couple of weeks, everybody's talking about them. It looks like they've forgotten how to concede at the moment. If you don't have 2 Arsenal or 3 defensive Arsenal players in your FPL, perhaps you are not doing enough because right now they are not even conceding goals at the moment. And even Pep Guardiola had to say, well, it would be nice for Arsenal to concede, you know, in the nearest future, of course, because it looks if you are not conceding, like Fergie once said, Sir Alex Ferguson once said that attacks win you games, but the defense does win you titles. And at this moment, they are going on a run that nobody is catching up with anytime soon. When it looks like they are not going to score, they grind out that 1 goal, they grind out those 2 goals, they grind out 3 goals if necessary, but they don't score too many times, but they get 1 and they seal it up at the back. Biodun, very quickly, Arsenal won again at the weekend, and the major news was that they did not concede.
I think another thing that we have to pay attention to now is how they score. Corner kick FC, long throwing FC.
Just getting it.
Just getting it. So it looks like this is the time where Arsenal are now beginning to see the reality of, if you need to get this title, it has to be anyhow. Is a how. It is not about fine football. You know, their first or second game of the season, their game against Man United this season, United played so well in that game that United fans felt, okay, they could have got the win. Arsenal played all forms of aram football that day, but still got the win. But the following week against Liverpool, some weeks later against Liverpool, Arsenal played every form of beautiful football against Liverpool, but lost 1-0 to Liverpool. Then I asked them again, okay, beautiful football against Liverpool, nothing to show for it. Aram football against Manchester United, all the 3 points. Which one would you go for? Definitely Arsenal fans will tell you they just want the win this time around.
They just want that league.
It is not.
They've been dragged for it on social media.
Just give us every
long.
3 points and give us the title at the end of the season. If that's the way they will have to work for it, so let it be. As long as they are not, as long as they are not letting in the goals, as long as they are getting the results, it's fine. And as long as it is not officials bending the rules in their favor, well, it's fine. Even if they bend the rules in their favor, they will tell you that they've suffered the same fate in the past as well. So good for Arsenal, the momentum that they are carrying at this point. It will take a very strong team, but maybe like a team with the resolve of Manchester City, to to put them to a real test this season.
They'll be saying they'll play Spurs in the next couple
in the next 2 matches.
two games, yeah.
They will go to Sunderland after their Champions League
another
next
good
week.
team, because they are coming from relegation and they are up there. They are not where you expect relegation teams to be.
But I think for whatever aura that Sunderland have, Arsenal are on
head and shoulder.
Heads and shoulder above them. Bring all forms of negative football. Arsenal will counter it. Play your beautiful football so they
will play it.
so I don't know the kind of aura that Sunderland will be bringing. They might just be taking their hell against Arsenal. Maybe a test for them might be the
Spurs.
Game, because it's a
not like Spurs. They started well, but at the moment,
exactly.
The coach is even calling his players, and they are even working off at the moment.
Exactly, and he's trying to defend himself and saying he doesn't have favorite players. He doesn't prefer this over that and all of that. So maybe because it's a derby, they might just put them into a real test. But then it will take a team like City
to score against a team like Arsenal
to really show us, to really put Arsenal, push them, press them, and maybe put them on the back foot in the game.
All right, moving on very quickly. We spoke about Liverpool a little earlier, but now about the result. They did beat Aston Villa this time around without conceding. Like Biodun said earlier, it's been a while since that happened. Mohamed Salah scoring in back-to-back games. This was a man that some section of Liverpool fans were even attacking and saying that, he wasn't giving him his best. And on his social media pages, he removed the Liverpool flag. Some person said, a lot of things have been said. And Mo Salah too posted himself and his daughter, not even posting about the game. A lot of things going on, but the most important thing for Arne Slot is that in a season where people thought he was going to be consolidating on last season's performances, it was really going down the drain, and now they're somehow picking up.
Aston Villa result was a sort of relief, kind of. It really doesn't mean that those struggles are over. I saw Salah's reaction after the game as he walked into the tunnel. That guy is still cold, especially towards the fans. He might want to get his job done on the pitch professionally, give his best for 90 minutes or whatever minute he's going to
go back home.
And still go back home. But then, anything after that game, he just wants to wave at the fans and go back into the...
Is he likely leaving at the end of the season? Because he has a 2-year deal.
Yeah. This time around, if Salah leaves, I won't be surprised. He gave everything last season, got a new 2-year deal, but before he gets to the middle of the new 2-year deal, fans are turning against him already. So
fans are turning against him, but his performances are not as good.
Salah is not at his best, no doubt about that. But what I saw against Aston Villa, it was simply a case of form, and he looks like a player that is just rediscovering his form for the season. A player that has gone 40 games from last season, that went 40 games, scoring in as many games as possible, only failing to get them on the line in the Champions League, but then ensure that the Premier League title was sealed with a number of games at hand. These things come into play at times. And in Salah's season with Liverpool, season came in 2017. I can't remember Salah having a woeful season. So it can be that he doesn't want to give his best to the club. So these are some of the things that most of these fans, especially the ones resident on social media, should understand. So they should know this. So the guy is still good. I won't be surprised if he leaves at the end of the season. But from the man I saw against Aston Villa, I think he's rediscovering his form. It might just be a matter of time now, because before they start singing his praises all over again and all of that.
That's why they're fans, so that's their job.
Exactly.
To attack when you're not doing well and to praise when you're on form. Very quickly moving away from the English Premier League now to La Liga, where there's a 5-point gap between Barcelona and Real Madrid. Real Madrid topping at the moment with Barcelona second. Of course, remember it was 2 points before the El Clasico victory from the weekend before this weekend that just passed. And a lot of things happened after the encounter. And Lamine Yamal reports, coming out some days ago that he has a particular type of injury that may never get healed up until the end of his career. So, that news was bad news. But somehow on the pitch of play, the left-footed Spanish whiz-kid didn't allow any of the information before that time. And even an emotional issue that is on our front page this morning on Punch Sports Extra, he didn't allow any of that to affect him. He did his job, scored a brilliant goal. They got all 3 points. And a good job, a good day at the office for Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, I saw the goal
teammates.
he scored too. Very good for a player that they said is still at 50% level. What if he gets to 100%? It would be devastating, as always. But then, maybe in a real test, like we saw in the El Clasico, where he was silenced and all of that, we might not see his best, at least until he overcomes whatever physical issues he's dealing with injury. He says he might not leave him until the end of his career, but there will definitely be a way around it. If he finds a way around that, we might definitely get to see Lamine Yamal back at his best. And I like the fact that the El Clasico is giving us such, even days after it, we are still seeing comments from players and all of that. So La Liga generally, a 5-point gap. We always say it in our parlance here that when a Sunday is going to look really good,
You will know from Saturday.
you would have known from Saturday. These are the signs that we see in the La Liga. It could go on like this, as this, and the next El Clasico will just decide who takes the title as well. So, but I think with the form that Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Valverde, every other player, maybe barring Vinicius, who is just there giving everything but not getting the goals as much as possible. I think with the form that Real Madrid are, it will be really hard to dislodge them from that number one spot. They would have to have as many as 4-5 players going off form before they can derail them at the top of that table. It's not it's not like Barcelona are bad after all. Barcelona aren't bad, but then Madrid players are just too good now
at the moment.
And you will need all of them to be bad, almost all of them to be bad, before you can topple them at the moment.
Or say injuries coming in.
Exactly.
All right, because Bjorn has talked about it, let's talk about Real Madrid's victory very, very quickly. Kylian Mbappe grabbing a brace to that man himself, and Erling Haaland are the guys in Europe now that they can't just stop scoring. There was another goal by Jude Bellingham. Remember that he came into the season off a surgery. Shoulder. And he scored again this weekend. He scored at the Clasico last weekend. He's coming back. Vini Jr. missing a penalty, just like Kylian Mbappe lost the penalty last weekend at the Clasico. Somehow Vini, with the problems that came out of his removal against Barcelona by his manager, Xabi Alonso, and then now having the opportunity of a penalty, some Madrid fans are criticizing him because immediately there was a penalty. He just went to pick the ball. Kylian was like, the ball, but he saw that the guy was holding it like, I'm on this one. Now me get this one. Oh, you don't score two. Some persons have said, should have given it to your teammates. Let him get a hat trick. And then if anything happens, some persons have said, but he has scored two. Let me too score one. Long and short of everything is that he missed it. Some persons have criticized Vini and all of that. But somehow, like Biodun said, the team still got 3 points, got their goals, and Kylian Mbappe just got his trophy for best highest goal scorer last season a couple of days ago with his father and his teammates and all of that. And the way he's going, he might just be warming up for another one.
Well, another one, but something bigger in the real sense of it.
World Cup ahead, Ballon d'Or.
Exactly. So Mbappe really has to aim, and it all depends on what he's able to achieve at club and even at national team level. So it's still a long walk to clinching any of those individual honors. He will definitely be wanting more than the Golden Boots.
Of course, everybody knows he wants that. He wants the Ballon d'Or.
Then should Vinicius Jr. be kept in check at Madrid with all these attitudes? Yes, but then there is a problem because we understand that whatever issue happened between him and Xabi Alonso isn't even over in the first place. And we also understand that some senior players in the Real Madrid squad are saying Xabi Alonso is not Pep Guardiola. He's Xabi Alonso.
Yes, that he's trying to bring.
He shouldn't try to bring any form of restriction.
And reports have it that Xabi has said there must be strict rules. And
exactly. But then they're saying, see, you have to be Pep Guardiola before you bring things. You are not on that level. I hope this thing doesn't divide the Real Madrid.
Coach's ego and that of the players.
I hope this clashes doesn't divide the dressing room going forward. I just hope they keep getting the job done. If it is to give Vinicius the number of minutes that he wants to play on it, as long as other players are delivering and he gets to score 1 or 2 as well, everybody will be happy eventually.
All right, moving on very quickly, we'll be talking about our own Nigerian Professional Football League. Nigerian Premier Football League it is now,
Yeah,
right?
Premier
But
Football
not
League.
professional, now Nigeria Premier Football League. But the big news is that Kano Pillars is the last team in a 20-team league. Kano Pillars. And guess who is 18th? Yes, just a couple of points away from them. Remo Stars, the champions. Biodun, is there a course in the NPFL that when you do well last season or you win the league last season, this coming season, you are coming down? I mean, can't you just stay up the way the big boys do it in England and in other leagues? Why is it that when you go up in Nigeria, you are coming down the next season? How?
I think the status of being a big team in the Nigeria Premier League is always there. But then, how you perform after a title-winning season is another thing entirely. Except Eimba and Rivers United, who did that maybe some years ago too. We've not seen it happen recently where a team comes. I think the last team that tried to retain the NPFL title, if I look at it from Kano Pillars doing 3 some years back, Eimba have come, they've been able to do it back to back. I think since then too, every team that have just come, one team winning this season, they fizzle out the next and all of that. But for Remo's kids, I think they've been very distracted with their continental engagement. They are a professional team, they should be.
But they are out now?
But then they've been thrown off balance by their continental engagement. So
Are you sure their manager leaving for national team duties is not affecting them?
it didn't affect them last season. He missed about 10 or 11 matches last season, and they still went on to win the league. This time around, I think they were just thrown off balance by whatever engagement they had. If they had won any of those CAF Champions League preliminary game against Mamelodi Sundowns, things would have gone different way for them in the NPFL. But then, losing that way at home, threw away every morale into the dustbin, every morale that they had. Having come back to play in the NPFL after it, too, anything could have done it. It was, like we say in the Yoruba parlance, what
does that mean in
like
English for those who don't understand?
if you've been beaten, if you've been
Properly.
battered by something as big as that, anything little could even trample on you and you stay down there. So it's just about distraction of being thrown off balance. I checked their fixtures again. I pity them. Their next game is against Nasarawa United, who were formerly on top of the table at least before this match day.
Yeah,
And
when Abia Warriors is now up.
when Abia, so back-to-back away games. This might not be the time for them to pick up themselves. But if they can get a draw in there, they will be coming back home against former champions Enugu Rangers at home, and things might just pick up from there. And look at Enugu Rangers too. After their title-winning season in 2024,
Yes.
they've been either here nor
there.
And that
Their
is
manager is also with the national
with
team.
the national team as well. So, but trust me, if it didn't affect Ogmodede's team last season when they won the title, I don't think it
That's not
should
what's
ever
affecting
be an excuse.
All right. Of course, like you heard, Abia Warriors is currently topping the league, but there's a game in hand for what's it now? Nasarawa United
And even Rivers United.
and
who are
Rivers
second.
United. Interestingly, Remo have only played 8 games.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, other
They still have
teams,
some backlog of matches.
yeah, have played about 10. Some have played 11. Yeah, so they still have a couple of games to catch up. And even leave, it's so sad that you see them in that red. I mean, these are the champions. Like seeing Man City in relegation or Liverpool. I mean, it can't be that bad. It shouldn't. There's nothing that. I mean, but some people have said that the NPFL is very funny. It's a league where you win at home, you go away, you get a point, you celebrate.
And even
it has been on like that for years.
And even towards the end of the season, why you see a team on top of the table looking at the title, somewhere within the club, they are still calculating how many points they still need to be away from the relegation zone. So it's really very dicey. But then in Remo's case, let's see how well they execute their next their outstanding fixtures and even their next fixtures. They should be out of there. At least get into the mid-table, try to balance things, and let's see if they will be able to challenge for the title again. Because if you ask me, the contenders are not yet in the top 2 position at the moment.
Oh, and those are
Abia Warriors, Nasarawa United. Rivers United is the only team that you can take seriously that is coming into
I mean, the contenders. So who are your major contenders?
Major contenders for the title this season. Remo Stars defending champions.
You think so?
Rivers United. And those are just the two.
By the Rivers United have made it into the Champions League group stage for the
yeah.
first time. A national Nigerian team is getting there in a couple of years now. Interestingly, they are in the money spinning stage. The former stage they were with Remo Stars, it was a $50,000
100 actually.
stage. Oh, it was increased to 100.
Yes.
Oh, it was 50 that was announced.
100.
So that's big money. Even the 50K was big money.
Yeah.
I mean, when did they announce that it was 100? It was still 50K.
It was as a last season.
But it was announced that it was going to be 50 for that stage. I mean, the entire stage. That's even the information that is still online. Oh my goodness, I mean, SCAF still have a lot of jobs to do. But now, Remo Stars are in the money spinning stage where if they crash out at the level they are at the moment, they'll be getting $700K. Yeah. $700,000 multiplied by 1,004 something or whatever. You know, that's good money for Rivers State government and Rivers Football Club. And of course, the man Nigerians don't like to hear about at the moment, Finidi George. I mean, Nigerians don't like to hear about him because of what happened with, you know, the national team and the qualification that have been rescued. We'll be here next week Monday to talk about that rescue mission that will be next week. 13th of November, we'll be playing against Gabon. And if we qualify by beating Gabon, we'll be meeting one of DR Congo or Cameroon. By the way, DR Congo have announced their own team that will be prosecuting.
A very decent team.
Yeah, those
very decent team.
I mean, I'm saying those two games. It may be one game. I mean, it's not sure for anybody that you are playing two games. And we are hearing that Nigeria will be calling up new players. We'd like to see what's going to happen because I personally think that if you're going to be playing at this level, you don't need any new boys. Use the same boys that they know. I mean, they understand each other rather than bringing new guys. But hey, I'm not the NFF. A very thank you to Abiodun Aduwale for being a part of this package. The biggest of thanks belongs to you out there, our viewers. Because like I always say, we are here because you are there. My name is Shegun. I'm saying welcome to November. May it indeed be a November to remember for good. Yes, after staring that for good. Not just a November to remember, but a November to remember for good. Stay out of trouble, guys. Have a fantastic week. God bless you.